Hello.
Hi.
And welcome back to another episode of Breakroom Banter.
It's a hairstylist adjacent podcast where each week,
two friends
who also happen to be hairstylists,
break down our weeks in the break room. I'm your host, Hunter Walden.
and I am your co-host, Ericka the Red.
And today we have a very special guest.
Yay!
By the age of 18, Jay had 3 album releases in an American pop duo, Deep Fried Bubblegum, 1 solo album,
Wow, you creeped on me.
and 300 plus solo duo gigs under her belt, from fairs, festivals, charity events to casinos, restaurants all over California. In 2013, she made the move to Nashville to study music at Belmont University and pursue her dreams to share her original music for a living. Over the years, she has developed as a vocalist and entertainer, worship leading, playing private events, gigging at a wider range of venues around Nashville and beyond. She's collaborated with multiple Grammy award-winning musicians in multimedia tribute shows and recordings. And today, actually in the break room,
for real,
is Jay Rin.
Yay! Jay Rin is the artist that we did the music video with this weekend.
And this is part 2 to our episode from last week. So, for the folks that don't know you, Jay, who is Jay Rin?
Who is Jay Rin? Oh, I love it. Well, that's me. Hi. Jay Rin, if you're wondering, is short for Jamie Aaron, which is my first and middle name.
Yeah.
But there were already other Jamie Aarons out there, so I had to get creative. But currently, she is in Nashville, living life, and like you said, going after the dream, which is to write a bunch of songs and get them out into the world. And recently I've been very stoked and excited for this Halloween song, which I released last October. But I've been wanting to do a video of it for quite some time.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool to see that start to come to fruition this past weekend.
Yay!
Yeah.
I love it. Can we just have a moment for how freaking cool everything was the other night? I think we were all feeling the energy of how awesome it was, like, and seeing it all come together. And for me, like, I've definitely never done anything like that before. And like seeing what we were seeing in real life and what we, like what Hunter and I did with your hair and stuff, and then seeing it through her camera.
That was the part that
so cool.
I teared up several
God.
times. I'm not going to lie to you, because I was just so like proud to be a part of something that was so creative.
Yeah.
And we talked about that last week, where we talked, like, everyone there had a creative passion, and we were all there, supporting you. And we were talking how there was a guy in the corner who was scoring a music or a movie or something, and like the guy on the drums, and just everything happening. It was such a great environment, and you fostered such a community that night that was beautiful.
Yeah. It was really cool too to see how, like, we were talking about this earlier, like how, I didn't even catch the guy's name, but like the guy with the doll. The guy who was sat on the doll. The doll, right? And like how she was just like, okay, you know what? You want this. I like it. Make it happen, and I will get it, and we'll make it work. And how it was just like, that was not part of the original plan, but it made it in somehow. And then, even to Hunter and I randomly having to climb into the attic.
Yes.
And do our cameos, like, it just was
for
cool
stuff like that.
how it all, like, there was a plan and everything, but it all just, in the moment, and the creativity of everybody bouncing off of each other morphed it into some extra stuff that we hadn't planned on that is just going to take it to the next level, which I think kind of segues into the coolest part to me, which I just learned today, is that y'all just decided this last minute.
Yeah.
For Hunter to even do the hair.
Yes.
And you weren't originally planning on doing that.
No.
So, like, what was the original plan?
Well, the original plan is I was just going to kind of look cute and, like, put on a Freddy Krueger claw halfway through and, like, maybe get, like, a little more animated and spookier with, like, my visual performance.
Gotcha.
And it was just tremendous when Hunter and I are having our regular hair appointment, and he's like, so tell me about this video and your vision for it. And then he's like, oh, honey, you need me.
Yes.
And he's like, all right, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You are going to get increasingly crazier throughout this video, and that's going to be reflected in your hair and makeup. And I was pretty much sold at that line. And then as we started digging into the nitty gritty and looking at pictures for inspiration, I was just all here for it. And now I honestly can't imagine that video happening any other way.
Yeah.
So that was such like a beautiful like moment of serendipity for us to have that conversation and just the timing be perfect. Like, oh my gosh, the universe freaking provided.
Aligned for that one to happen. It was really cool. I'm so glad thank you for letting me be a part of that, and Hunter, thanks for having me tag along, because I was like, I'm trying to remember. I'm like, I feel like I recognize her from the salon, but like, I don't know if I've ever conversed with you until that night. And I didn't know anything about what song it was or anything about anything. So like, it was so cool for me, like as an outsider, to come in and get to be a part of that for you. That was really cool, because it's like your first video, right? So what was it like for you? I mean, obviously you and I didn't know each other, but everybody else there you did, and Hunter's part of your circle. I mean, he's new to the circle, but you knew him before. So like, what was that like for you to have everybody there to support you for something that's so big for you?
I mean, that's so true. I mean, it was very just, I looked around and I thought, wow. Like, I don't know. It's kind of a speechless moment. It was just like, it was beautiful to see how everything came together. There were even a few people there that were also kind of like Hunter, just happened to be in the vicinity when I said I was filming a music video, and they went, I want to do that.
Oh,
so
really?
That was neat. And Ben was one of those people. Like, he found out about it like a couple days before, and he's the doll guy.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just kind of neat.
I'm like, which one's Ben?
I don't know. Music City is a beautiful place for that, because there's lots of creatives everywhere. And I'm just like immensely thankful for the people who decided to jump on board with the project, because I couldn't have done it alone by any means.
Well,
and it does make a difference. Like, when I was like working with Annie, our videographer, beforehand, trying to like visualize the creation. When you're there in the moment, seeing everyone, all the pieces there, and all the people who show up and the decorations and all that, it's inspiring in its own way to go, oh, what if we did this? What if we get you guys up in the attic?
Totally.
What if we get that shot? Because you're like, we're here right now, and this is special.
Well,
so let's make the most of it.
You don't have to use it. Was the other part.
Yeah.
You know? That's what, like,
Just
Hunter
get
and
everything.
I talked in the last episode about, like, your hat at the end.
Yeah.
Like, how we were like, oh, well, it could suck. It could not suck. Let's try it. And if we don't like it, we can change it, and we don't have to use it, you know?
Yeah.
That was cool. I don't know. Sorry, random thought.
Oh, no, you're fine. So my question would be, like, this was your first undertaking of, you were producing, you were directing, you were the decorating team, the star of the show, and you also had to like sit down for a second and get pampered. What was it like in the moment during your creative process, trying to get other creative people to follow your vision?
Ooh, well, a natural challenge is I'm not like a natural planner. So it was a lot of details to kind of, I don't know, leading up to the shoot. I feel like there were moments where I was like, I don't know what to do. But then other times where I'd go, oh, I'm really excited. Ooh, what if I did this? So the creative part, when I started getting in that flow, was definitely the most exciting part. But then like delegating is not my strong suit. So then I was like, oh, I forgot to ask someone to do this. So that's also why there were maybe a few last minute things. And I'm thankful for, I don't know, it takes a village, and the village showed up.
Right.
So that was cool.
It honestly is almost like I always tell, I feel like I tell brides this all the time. Like, at the end of the day, if you got married, the day was a success. Like,
that's true.
Stop freaking out over the little stuff that in the end isn't going to matter. You know what I mean?
So true. And that was kind of like, I felt assured in that. Like, I was like, there's a wonderful group of people here. we're going to come out with something cool. And so just trusting that process, like, enabled me to relax throughout the process.
Yeah, because you never got to a point where you were snippy. It was, I've been a part of things like this before, and it was very smooth.
Yeah.
Like, almost eerily smooth. So that was why I was like, how was that for you? But it sounds like you just kind of went with the flow.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Yeah, there was no element to stress, and I didn't feel like, I mean, there were definitely moments where you were like going, but there wasn't any moment where you got like
no one was rolling their eyes when you
cranky
turned
or
your back. You know what I
anything.
mean?
Like, you were so graceful about it all. Like, to hear that you were like, oh, I'm going into this feeling a little unprepared.
Come on, though.
Are you
like,
kidding
it's
me?
hard
You did
to
so
be
good.
upset when there's like candy around and you're in costume and there's
and you're
crazy
dressed like
hair
Freddy Krueger.
and there's blood splattered all over you. I mean,
That
it's
is
just like,
true. And then there's a guy in a gold dress with his chest hair out.
Right.
I mean, you just couldn't help but smile.
And then the fire alarm goes off.
I know. I think
That was the only moment of
smoke
panic
machine.
anyone
Yeah,
had.
Exactly.
that's true.
But I think it was just Erica and I
We
panicking.
We were downstairs. I'm like, Hunter, open the door. He's like, there's a cat. I'm like, then stand there.
Oh my gosh.
It
I
was
just really
so
wonder what our
fun.
neighbors heard the whole
Oh
night.
my
like,
gosh.
They probably heard screaming. They probably heard the smoke alarm.
They were like, what's going on over there? They're probably used to it for you guys
Your
playing
roommate
music.
Actually,
It was funny seeing
HOA
your-
has complained
Oh,
about
Your roommate, seeing her come in the middle of it, she was kind of, because she was coming into like the belly of the beast that we'd been in for hours already, and she was just like, whoa.
the belly of the beast.
Yeah,
I
it
love that
was.
phrase.
It was funny. She was like, whoa, there is a lot going on right now. And I was like, yeah, girl, we're in it right now.
Yep.
So tell us what this song means to you.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. So I have to like dig back. So I wrote it actually back in college.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was actually original like. I won't show it to you. Maybe I will show it to you. I don't know. I did do a music video that was very, very DIY. Like, I filmed it all by myself and in my little tiny apartment. Yeah, it's a very embarrassing video.
I love that.
And I put that out in the world back in like 16?
Okay.
I think. Yeah. And at the time, like, I had friends who were like, you should like professionally record this at some point. And so it's always on my list, but I didn't get around to doing that until last year.
Yeah.
And then I thought, like, it would be fun to have an actual video for this. But as far as what it's about, oh goodness, I have to dig back. I mean, I'm a lover, not a fighter, but that's a blessing and a curse. So probably someone along the way kind of broke my heart, and I had to write about it.
Gotcha.
That's your way of fighting back.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
It's like, I was trying to explain it on the last episode. I'm like, it's Halloween themed, but it's not about Halloween. It's not like Monster Mash. You know what I mean? There's definitely like a hidden message you're talking about.
It's a song of revenge a little bit.
Okay.
It's kind of like when someone kind of fools you into thinking there's something that they're not.
That's the part I got
Which
from
I think everyone has gone through that. And I look back, especially at my early relationships and, falling for the nice words that aren't really backed up by good actions. And so, it kind of does a little play on words with like, okay, you have your disguise and everything that you do. Well,
so do
now
I.
I got mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And mine you should fear.
That's funny. Well, yeah, it was cool. And go ahead, Hunter. You were gonna say something.
Tell us what it was like getting your hair and makeup done in the moment with we didn't really, we storyboarded together a little bit and I did go off of that storyboard, but kind of it evolutionized into what it was, which was dope. But, what was it like to just trust that process and know that we had your vision and we were collectively working towards that?
It was like a lot of trust, but y'all like we've worked together before,
Right.
so I knew I can trust you, like, to deliver something really freaking cool, which you delivered in the best way. It also helped to just have like my little community of like couple friends at the table being like the cheerleaders of the
They
night.
were.
They were
Oh my
kind of just
gosh,
sitting watching,
you look
being
so
like,
good.
yes, I love it. Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, cool. I look amazing. My head was just getting bigger and bigger, just like my hair.
Yeah.
I would assume there was probably a couple moments where Hunter and I were hyping ourselves up that probably hyped you up because we were like, we'd look at, I don't know, be like, bitch.
Yeah.
This is the moment. Like,
It
this
was
is
everything.
It. I know. At one point, she was like, well, I want to do this and this and this. And I said, don't say that around me and Hunter because we make shit happen, okay? Like,
yeah, I remember mentioning the fake blood, and I was like, oh, I have fake blood. I don't know if you guys want to splatter. Yes. Get outside.
Yes.
Literally.
My hands were stained.
Moments later, Hunter is I'm pouring blood into his hands and he's throwing it at her. And he's like, at one point, the serrated bread knife cutting the shirt and
that she's wearing currently.
right now.
It's a fashion statement, honestly.
I was like, this is probably not a good idea, but it's happening and we're going to go with it.
Yeah. So what is next? Is there more music videos on the horizon?
Technical difficulty.
Oh, we're going to have to take a pause.
Down.
So this was so much fun doing this music video. Do you have plans for doing more in the future?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I don't know what specific song I'm going to do it next for, but I'm kind of hooked now on the creative process. Like, it was so invigorating to get to work with, I don't know, just have so many creative minds in the same space and to like have something tangible at the end of that is just something that you could just everyone could be proud of. I hope so. I hope everyone that was a part of it afterwards feels like it's something that they would do again.
Absolutely. And Hunter and I feel like we're super inspired that we're like, oh my God, we have to do this more.
Yeah.
Not only because it was super fun, but also because we did really well together and that was cool for us, like as a team. But we are now officially your beauty gurus.
Sorry, you're really stuck.
So yeah, you are stuck with us, and don't
That's
worry
the
about hair and
contract I
makeup
signed.
for any music video in the future.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright,
because
sounds
we
good.
got you.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Just send us a
Right.
storyboard. We got it.
That being said, if any of your other friends need our help too,
Yes.
you let them know that you know somebody who does a good job.
Did you already ask the question about what she was going to do with her hair?
Yes, I did. Well, I asked what was the original plan for the video without the metamorphosis of the look like that.
Yeah, it
But
was
there
literally
was-
just going to be like a simple, like I was going to curl my hair as much as I possibly could and like brush it out to get like some soft waves and do just like a little classic
Cute little classy
look.
makeup.
Yeah, pretty much. That was going to be it. But yeah, I did not have, honestly, I hadn't even thought about it. Like, you know, like when we were
Yeah.
having the hair, I was like, you know, I've been thinking so much about the storyline of the video. I was the last on the list of what I was actually thinking about creating.
That's so funny.
It is funny, but it's important to have everybody that you had there because of the collaboration that took place.
Mm-hmm.
And what question did you have?
Oh, well, I was trying to remember what it was that when we were outside talking about this, but just, oh, that's right. What was it like for you? Yes, being this being like your first video and coming in like not really, like you said, kind of having an idea of what it was like, but also knowing what you wanted. In the moment, like we already said, you were so graceful from the exterior, but what was that like letting go of control? I guess maybe Hunter kind of already asked that, like letting go of control for us.
And for everyone spouting ideas.
Yeah, because that was something that stuck out to both of us was that there were people who were like, oh, you should shoot this and you should shoot that. And what about this? And oh, what if we did that? And like, was there any moment where you felt like, oh my gosh, are my ideas not good enough on their own? Or was it more like, cool, thanks for the idea, bro, moving on? Or did you be like, yes, let's do that, and then we can, were you bouncing off of that more?
Yeah, it was more the last one.
Okay.
When, goodness, I can't remember like specific moments.
I mean, because that's how it seemed.
Yeah.
That's how it seemed, from an outside perspective looking in. But everyone in there was an artist too, in their own form.
Yeah, absolutely. There were musicians there. There were graphic designers.
Exactly.
There were people who have acted and done all sorts of stuff. So it's pretty awesome when they're going, ooh, what if this happened or if this happened? And yeah, I love that.
Cool.
I love that part.
So it just was inspirational. That's good because, sometimes we as artists can be sensitive about our work. And maybe because it was your first one and you were going in being like, I don't know what I'm doing. Sure, that's a great idea. Let's do it. But it was so cool to be a part of because the energy just was really good. Yeah. So, I don't know. Just throwing that out there. We did good. I feel almost more inspired by doing that than I did even coming out of that class, which was like a life changer for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was hair related. This was hair related, but it was also like I felt fed by the passion of other people for their art.
Yeah.
Not even anything I know anything about or a world I'm from, but I just thought it was really cool.
What surprised me is when you go into it, it's kind of like a live show, like you've prepared, you've done what you can.
Yeah.
And then there comes a moment where you just got to accept that you are as prepared as you're going to be for the event. So you just got to ride the wave.
Yeah.
Like the wave is there and it needs to be ridden.
Whichever. As long as it's getting ridden, I don't think it cares.
But yeah, it's just once it starts, it's go time.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of have to run with it. And attitude is so important, I feel like, in these projects. Like, it's better to keep the morale of everyone good because so I was like really mindful of that. I wanted everyone else to have a really good time. And because I knew if they're having a good time, then we're going to create something collectively that is going to be fun. And it's just going to, I don't know, have all the good vibes and hopefully lead to the most successful creation by the end.
Girl, I'm so excited to see the finished project because like I was telling, and I said this earlier, but like visually what we could see, what we did with hair and everything was cool. The set was cool. You had it cool. Your corner was all cool. Everybody had their costumes out. Shit was so cool. But then looking at it, sorry, Mike, through the videographer's lens and seeing what it's actually going to look like in the video, and it just was elevated like 150,000%, like seeing it through that screen, and it was like, it just was cool.
Have you gotten to see?
It's gonna be so
anything?
cool.
I have not, but Annie Luhan is a goddess.
Is she?
I went to college with her, and goodness, I remember like we had a lot of mutual friends. So there were 4th of July parties. There were like swimming pool parties and all that stuff. But I got to work with her like I think a few years ago, 2019 for the first time. We did a photography shoot together. And even then I just saw so much of her creativity come out. Like she was using crystals to get doubling effect on like my face and stuff. Like she's just such a creative and wonderful artsy human. And so I immediately thought of her when it came time for this.
Well, I saw her doing something at one point where I think it was the part where everybody's like, I don't want to say too much, but like waking up, and she had pulled some streamers and was like holding them and like doing this, and then there were points where she was like rocking back and forth even like with the camera, and I just was like watching it all come together, like your song, our like art, the band jamming, and then adding the video. It like I keep saying the same thing over and over, but it just was so cool. Like, and it's gonna be good, and you're gonna kill it, and it's gonna be a hit song, I think. So
sure. Absolutely, it'll be a hit song. Once you hear it once, you can't hear it only once. So we talk a lot about hairdressing and hairdressing, our creative process. Yeah. So for someone that's not in our field, what is it like your creative process? What is that like when you're writing a song or planning a photo shoot, because I know you have to continually have like new photos and all of that. So what's it like? What's your creative process for that?
Oh, you know, I look back and I definitely had some like video shoots early on in my music career, and I was so stressed about like, what am I gonna wear? And I don't want to come off like this. And what if I come off like this? And at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, what makes you happy to wear, you know, in the moment, and like what makes you feel good? Just go in that. Like, find something that you feel good on, that like makes you like walk down the street and you're like, oh yeah.
Well, and we even talked about at the shoot, you were like, oh, well, I've worn that at this gig. I can't wear it to this gig and stuff like that. Like, we thought about that with a podcast. Yeah. You have to wear a different shirt whenever you film too, or, you know, just like
well, and it's
crazy
fun to change
things.
it up, for sure. Yeah. I know it's a weird like social media world we live in, because, sometimes I try not to like repeat outfits if the shows are really close together, because I'm like, oh, like I want people to see that they're different nights.
Yeah. Right.
And I wash my clothes.
I have more than one outfit.
Although I say that, I have not washed any of this since the video shoot.
Let's say, like, well, I guess it could
I probably smell terrible.
Well, there's still blood on your shirt.
Yeah, there's still blood on my shirt.
She was like, we're talking about the music video. I'm going to dress like the music video.
Pulled them out of my laundry.
I love that.
That's so funny.
What is your house like now?
Yeah.
After all that. Have the cleaners come?
Yeah. So my roommates and I, we all pitched in to like hire a lady to help come in.
I hope I got all that blood off the side of the house, by the way.
You know, I scrubbed a little bit. It was all good. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Like, it's dark and I can't see.
The neighbors have been eyeing me suspiciously, asking a few questions. I'm just kidding.
I was like, oh God.
But no, there was some blood splatter on the wood deck. But what was cool, I got to put some water on it, and it kind of ran down. I was like, great, we have cherry wood.
Cool. Nice.
Perfect.
It's stained now.
People pay great money for cherry woods.
Yeah.
You know? Just
DIY.
Fake blood. That's all you need, folks. Fake blood.
So how have you, growing up, because you grew up in the music industry, right?
Kinda. I don't know. I probably can't fully say that, but I grew up in a musical household, definitely. So like, my dad's also a musician, but like he wasn't doing music full time until like 2008, and the recession hit, and then he lost his job like many other people did. But it was like, and he'll attest to this, like beautiful blessing in disguise, because then like his passion was always, you know, his songwriting and performing. And so he kind of got back into that, and I got to see him build his career from the bottom up. And that simultaneously, my mom had gone back to school and like become a nurse. So that was another example I saw of someone going, all right, it's never too late to change directions and to pursue your passion. And it sometimes does take a while, but it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of nights where you wonder, am I doing
the right thing?
Yeah, am I in the right place? Like, is this where I'm meant to be? But trusting it and continuing to work hard and try new things and pivot in the midst of that process was really inspiring to see in both of my parents. But in high school, that was, I guess, so I started playing coffee shops like around like age 11 or 12. Gosh, it was wretched. I had like my little ultimate guitar, like charts on my music stand, like paper clipped or bobby pinned to it. But like it was outside, and I remember a few times they blew away, and then I just like would stop mid song and have to run after them to like pick them up. Or like the people in the audience would pick them up and give them back to me. Like, thank you. And I was like playing All American Rejects. Just
that's cute.
The Beatles, but.
Well, let's speak on the fact that you said your dad wasn't doing music full time until 2008. And I feel like a lot of people hear songs on the radio and they see musicians living the life, making shit tons of money. But the reality of that is, what is that? What is the reality? Because I mean, I'm not a musician. I don't know.
Goodness. I mean, each artist definitely has their own reality depending on where they're at in their career. But I think from like non-musicians looking in, they definitely see the glitzy persona and they think, wow, like your life is so easy. You just get up there and sing a song and it isn't hard work or anything. And you look great. And so and like, it's funny. Sometimes I'll throw it back at them. I'm like, well, you didn't see the sweaty moments leading up to the gig. Like, you didn't see the, like, carrying the equipment down the stairs and into the car and, like,
nobody
being
sees
like,
the blood,
oh,
sweat,
I'm
and tears.
old.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it. And then, like, being like, oh, shit, well, I did do my, can I curse on this?
Yeah,
okay.
you can.
Yeah, you're fine.
And like, oh shit, I did do my hair, but now it's all frizzy and now it's like stuck to my face. My makeup's melted off, but I have the speaker in the car now. So like, you go up and you're like combing your hair and you're like, well, I have to make it to this gig on time. But that's, that's a fun part of the
hassle.
It is.
The
It's
hustle.
a hustle.
So,
And then once you're there, you go, all right, cool. Now I'm ready to do my thing.
Yeah.
So it's all worth it. It's, I don't know. It's a passion.
Definitely.
Passion, for sure. But yeah, like anything, it takes a lot of work.
You gotta want it because it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How
There's
long,
a lot that goes into it.
or I guess I don't really know a lot about your music journey, but how long were you like gigging and recording your original songs and putting them out in the world before you were like, I don't have to have a serving job anymore, or I don't have to work at this job for these other people, I can work for myself? I think that was more where I was trying to go with that question, is like, people don't realize that they just got off, like sometimes you have just got off work, gone home, loaded the car, and then got there.
Yeah.
So
no, that's true. I've worked quite a variety of different jobs. I mean, throughout, I don't know, from college now. I'll count, like, so I went to school for music, and I feel like that was really like the turning point when I really started kind of like delving into my craft and starting to ask the questions, well, who am I? And one of my instructors was like, if you want to find that out, write more music. That was like, oh yeah, that's really the only way to answer that as a musician, to figure out your sound. Well, you got to sing more, you got to play more, you got to like perform and play and create what resonates with you, and that'll naturally evolve as your life experiences evolve.
Exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. I feel like, so much of us go through a lot of evolution in our lives, but when you're a musician, that's where your art comes from. And so I think, like, you see people, and musicians are artists, and a lot of like painters and stuff, and it's like their dark moments and their pain and their growth becomes their music, and they take something hard that they've been through and turn it into something beautiful. So obviously life experience and each journey that you go through is going to shape that and change that.
Yeah. And I think like the big challenge, like with what you're asking, like with, I don't know, I sold knives for a bit. Then I sold like Mary Kay for a bit.
a brief stint in college.
I know. Which we talked about during the shoot for those listening. Yeah. It's like
inside jokes now.
Someone had asked for more mirrors, and I went, wait, I have a stack of like small little
She's like, I've
mirrors.
got more, take them.
I worked at a chiropractic office, like doing front desk. Then I did a customer service job. And I think the hardest part is when you're doing those other things. I mean, you're focused on making a living. Everyone has to make a living and put food on the table, or do whatever you need to do. Or like pay student loans or pay rent. And all those things are very real things. And they can be detractors from just how centered we feel in our ability to create. And sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, like, I think often I was like, well, if I just had more time, then I would be able to do it. And I think it's easy for what we love to take the back seat when we have that mindset.
Absolutely.
As opposed to shifting and going, you know what? This is what I need to do. Like, this is what I moved here, and this is how I thrive, is to do music. And that's how.
Girl, yeah.
So if you prioritize that over the work, you're still going to work, because at the end of the day, the survival instinct will kick in.
Right. You do still have to pay rent.
Yes, exactly. And you will find a way. And somehow, some way.
Right.
It's a goal. But yeah, I think that pivot for me mainly happens. So like probably just over the past year, I really seriously pivoted. So, goodness, I don't know. I'm talking all over the place. So yeah, I had all the side jobs. And then 2020 was the first time I was working full time in something that was music. And that was a beautiful shift. I got a job as a worship leader at a church out in Smyrna. And so what I loved about that is it was not only fulfilling because music has such beautiful impact in every setting, and I saw the ministry and the serving aspect of that was really special, and also just incredibly soul fulfilling compared to working customer service. Yeah. I was yay, right. I traded up.
Totally.
Yeah. I'm now doing music full time, even though I was still having to try and carve in the time for my original stuff. I was immensely grateful to have multiple musical outlets in my life. And then, so after a couple years, and of course you have pandemic and kind of the middle of all that craziness, there's a lot of virtual stuff. There's just all sorts of random curveballs to juggle on the way. I finally made the shift in June of this year to leave that job and do music completely full time, as far as pursuing being an entrepreneur as a songwriter and a performer. And so that was bittersweet because I'm immensely gonna miss that community and everything that position was to me. But I started feeling as travel opportunities are coming up, I couldn't have a weekly routine, and I was you know what, now's the time. Sometimes you have to kind of check in with yourself and go, okay, will I regret if I don't do this later? And for me, that was I realized the answer was yes.
Yeah, good for you, girl.
I would regret it if I didn't go after all of this fully with my whole self.
Give it your all.
After leaving in June, I kind of hit the ground running and started booking a bunch of fair shows back in California, where I'm from, and that got me out doing what I love, and all over the state, got to meet a lot of people, and it was
fun to watch you on social media going from fair to fair.
That's so
cool. It was so fun, and I'm gonna be doing that again in another couple weeks at another fair in the mid-state. But it kind of reminded me of I don't know, when you're in Music City, so much of your audiences are other musicians, which is wonderful.
Yeah,
I think of it as the army base for musicians. But when you get out, you get people who aren't there to necessarily critique you, but they're just so thrilled to have live music, and it kind of reminds you I don't know, that form of ministry doesn't just happen in the church, music resonates with everybody, and I think if there's anything our world needs, it's more music.
Yes.
It's more music. So that was a beautiful pivot, although a scary pivot. I'm just at the beginning of this doing this completely freelance. And,
oh my gosh.
Well, I'm just happy and proud and honored, honestly, that you have chosen me as your hairdresser, and just I feel our job is a lot more than hair. We build connections, and I feel you and I have built a connection that, you're on my podcast.
Yeah.
You're not just a guest to me. Every single guest comes in, and some people just hit different.
Well, and we talked about earlier how each guest that we've had has impacted us and changed us and helped us grow in some way, whether it's personally or in our career, just something that we remind. And the event of us getting to do that with you and Hunter, you winding up with Hunter is fate, and then us getting to do that and it working out the way it did, it's okay, cool. And then now you're on the podcast and you're sharing your story with everybody and more in depth with us, and that's gonna change us. You know what I mean? It's impacting us. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, likewise. Likewise. I'm just so inspired by everything.
No,
you
I
guys
still have
got
it up
going
here.
on, and your passions and how they shine like through this podcast, and like I'm inspired by all the content you put out all the time, and even just how quickly you made the reel after that music video shoot, and you're like throwing up on stories. I'm like, this looks so pro.
I'm like trying to go to bed. My Instagram's like ding ding. I'm like, shit, Hunter, go to sleep, bro.
Well,
he didn't have to work the next morning.
I was like, I guess I have to hire him too to be my social media person, because
I love social media. I love it.
I hate it. I hate it.
So is there a possibility for a tour in the future? Like, I was just thinking about you saying, you know, you're going out in a couple weeks to California, like a tour from Nashville all the way to California. The home tour?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So even this summer, so I got to drive out to California with a couple friends, and like, I mean, it felt like a tour in some ways, because you're like with friends kind of roughing it and like taking turns driving and eating terrible food in the car, a lot of fast food and snacks. We did have one gig in like New Mexico along the way, and that ended up being a really cool spot that I'll probably hit on the way back. But I was so last minute planning. Surprise, surprise. It's just the way I flow sometimes. Still working on that. But
so if there's anyone out here who is a talent manager,
yeah, so
anyone listening,
or you know anyone,
I reached out to a bunch of venues leading up to it, but like when I say leading up to it, like a couple weeks
the day before.
Oh gosh,
but like you need to reach out like
months.
Yeah, like everywhere was booked that I wanted to play, but the good part about it is like made some different connections in some other places, or even just increased my awareness of different venues that could be cool stops, like in Oklahoma City or like Amarillo and all these different little Phoenix, that, on the way out there. So I definitely think I'm hooked on the whole road trip experience.
I love it.
So there will probably be more tours. Yeah.
It's
a fun way to go back to my home state, you know.
And then you make a little money
I was
on the
gonna say
way.
make a little money,
gas money.
and it's a little business write-off, because
you know, that's the secret. For all my creatives out there, like, learn the beauty of write-offs.
I was gonna say,
We can have a whole nother podcast.
Nice when you can make work travel like also a time you get to stop and see your family.
Oh, definitely.
Great. It is very great.
Absolutely.
I highly advise doing that if you can.
Well, I was thinking about that when we were leaving your house the other day, for musicians, and I guess probably a bunch of other careers too, but music has been on my mind in the last few days. You have so many streams of income, or like money coming from different places, and not like we have paychecks. So for me, that would be so overwhelming to handle.
I have a spreadsheet.
Oh.
And yes. Have I kept it up in the past few months? No, not really. So usually taxes take me a very long time, because I'm like going back and I'm trying to like look at my calendar to go, okay, I went here, and I total up all the miles. I look at like the record of Venmos like I do keep like every single check, and so then I could go back there and go, okay,
I'm
these
literally
are the checks.
already starting to sweat. She's giving me anxiety.
Right? And then
I am a little bit too.
I have to like look through my notes app too, just to see, because sometimes I'll like, or I log the tips like in one of my notes. And then so I could go back and count that as that's all technically income that you have to report. And so
it's a very overwhelming task.
A process. And then you go on to like your, I mean, it's not much, but I go onto like the streaming site and I see how many pennies I made from that.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
right.
You know.
And it's just like $23.
Yes. Hey, yeah.
$23 means that a whole bunch of people have listened to that shit.
Exactly.
I would be so happy with $23 from a streaming service.
Right.
I think, I got 14 one year. I felt pretty good about that.
That's a lot.
No,
it's like,
I know.
It's like a
trust me.
penny for every 1,000 something. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking about that when we left. I was like, that has to be a lot. A lot of work.
Well, it's even hard we've talked about booth rental, and that's because that's all that for us. And I mean, God, I remember booth renting and being a 1099 educator, and gas, everything. Like
Clothes.
I said, clothes. I mean, massages can be written off if done properly, like because of
I
what
need to learn
we
the art
do.
of that one. Oh,
you know,
yeah, because you guys
like, there are certain things for certain businesses, and like clothes, but it can only be clothes that you're wearing for work, and it cannot, you know what I mean, like things like that. So you have to be organized, and I'm not, and I don't like that stuff.
Or like your nail, like getting our nails done. I count my nails on my taxes because it's part of a uniform.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I think.
I didn't know we could do that as employees.
As long as
I will never have gross nails again.
yeah, well, I mean, as long as you can prove that your dress code at your work
Well, I look trashy if they're not done.
Right. So as long as your dress code at work is like pampered and which ours is, like
bad and bougie.
Yeah, like, you know, just be elevated in every form of the way, of every form, you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's fucking write off. I'd write off my Botox and my filler if I could.
I mean, that's elevated, right?
I don't know about that. That's a lot of money to write off, but we're not going to say how much because Bradley listens.
I wouldn't know. I can't wait until the day that I do know. Anyways, I don't.
Speaking of nails, though, I have to shine a light on your commitment to the shoot. Like,
Oh.
Hunter themed his nails for the video shoot, and that just, you know, that I was stressed before, but then when you came with those nails, I went, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
he has the nails.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
like good luck charms, 10 good luck charms, just shining right in front of you.
He texted me first thing in the morning, and he's like, "I'm gonna get my nails done for the shoot," and then I was like, "Sweet, I'm coming with you. I need my nails done." But okay, so I think that she would be a good person to ask our questions we ask our every single guest, even though she's not a hairstylist.
Oh, yeah.
What in your career, when you look back on your career, and yes, you've said you're just starting out, but what would be the moment, if you can pick one moment that stands out to you that you just had to sit down afterwards and be like, holy shit, I did that. Like, wow, I am proud of myself.
All right, that's good. Easy response in some ways. I got to sing with the Rolling Stones back in college.
Whoa!
But hold on.
I just got goosebumps.
Hey,
I was singing with the choir, and
Okay,
the choir
still.
got asked to back them up on You Can't Always Get What You Want. And that was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, how did I end up here? And like, the Rolling Stones in particular were one of those bands that I just like grew up loving and listening to all of their music. And so it was just like a huge, like, I can die now moment.
Yeah, right?
But also, so it was when Nissan Stadium was LP Field back in, 2015. And, walking out on that stage and hearing that many people screaming and like having like the little earpiece with the band in, like, it was one of those moments where it was like,
I've seen this on TV.
I want to
now I'm
do this
doing
again.
it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
too. But it was kind of like, oh my goodness. Like, yes, right now I'm here with like, I don't know, one of the biggest bands in history on this stage. Like, that's incredible. But it was also like,
I want to do more.
I want to do this.
I want to do this.
I love that.
More again. So that was definitely an inspiring moment. Although, like, as far as like personal successes go, I don't know. I consider every opportunity where I grow to be like a big moment, you know? Like when I first sang the national anthem at like a Vandy game, like that was a big moment. I was shaking in my boots. Like,
yeah.
It was terrifying. I was like, what? By myself? Okay.
Yeah.
Really? Are you sure?
Right.
Well, that's that imposter syndrome kicking in
Well,
right there.
I'm not going to lie. I can love an artist, but if they butcher the national anthem when it is their responsibility to sing that song, I judge people. I think that it is
R.I.P. Christina.
I used to sing too, and like I'm not good, but I did it in high school. But I got enough understanding of like that song is not an easy song to sing. You know,
one
what
of the hardest.
It's really hard to sing that song, and
she said, "I'm aware."
Yeah, I know. I can't imagine
most practice songs.
Seriously, like I feel
most
like
painfully delivered.
And I do feel like you could be. We all saw it happen to a certain artist. I'm not going to call her out because I loved her when I was younger, but I loved her. And then after she sang the national anthem, it was kind of like a boo-boo in her career. Like everybody was like, well, that wasn't good. You know what I mean? And, and I can't imagine if like her audio was off and it was something like that, or like whatever it may be, because you can't really hear yourself the same way. But like the fact that you even did that at all blows my mind, because I would probably collapse even if I was the world's best singer out of nerves, because that's just such an intense moment where everyone's looking at you, and I feel like you either can do a good job or not, and it's like I'm sure you killed it, because I've heard
that
you
first
sing.
time I didn't.
You didn't?
Maybe
that
not even the second or third.
blows my mind, but I mean,
but it was such a good. Like I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
You know? It's so. You have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to do the things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, I say that a lot
you
too.
can kind of measure your progress too, which is nice over time. But yeah.
Well, and you know, we said on the last episode, you have to do it, and the first time you're gonna be bad at it.
Yeah.
You're gonna do bad.
Yeah.
But so for me, a question, and we have a second question to counter that one, but when you have a career that's built on performing, do you have stage fright, or is there something that you do before you go on stage? Because that can relate to hairdressers that are educating.
Totally.
Is there something you do before you go on stage that's just like centers you and allows you to do the best job you can?
Yes. So, okay, I have like a few different approaches depending on it. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, there's still some times where I get up and I'm like, oh shit, I got into too much in my head, or like I was a little too nervous. But, okay, a few different ones. The first one, I kind of talked on it earlier, like reassuring yourself that you've prepared as much as you can. So it's like, all right, being stressed, adding stress and going into like whether you're hairdressing or into a big moment, and if you're thinking about all the ways that you're unprepared, like it's just not going to lead itself to good things.
True.
But if you think of like, okay, I've done what I can and now I'm just going to have fun with it and trust. Yeah. Like it's going to be it's going to turn out better than what it would if you didn't trust that it was all going to work out. But one of my instructors back at Belmont, Dr. Kelly Garner, I loved her approach before performing, and I have used it a couple times, but she's like, sometimes you just got to like pump yourself up in the mirror and like throw a few punches and be like, yeah, I'm ready for this.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. And there's something about the physical like energy of like punching the air that makes you feel kind of like tough and empowered. But the biggest one, also from an instructor at Belmont, Dr. Sandra Dudley, and she leads the vocal program there. She brought up something interesting once that stuck with me. She said, any nerves we feel are like we're just thinking about ourselves. She's like, but if you remember the people you're giving the gift to and focus on them, it's going to alleviate the nerves. Because now you're thinking of like, and I know there's like a fine line with like that too, because like my mom always said, like, you know, sometimes nerves are really good because they remind yourself like what you care about, and like you really care about providing a good thing, and you want to do a good job. So I don't really
That's
know
true.
the secret. Deep breaths.
I say the ABCs over and over.
Really?
It's the easiest thing you can do.
To calm yourself down?
Yeah.
I would keep saying it faster and faster, and I think...
Oh, it's about the cadence. You just have to A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I like that.
And if I do that and I'm like, okay, you got it. You got it. You got it. You can say all the letters in the alphabet. You're not going to mess up your words.
Yeah.
You're good.
That's funny.
Well, and it's so important. Okay, so I'm going to bring up now another phrase that I heard from a choir director once. We were singing a passage and they were trying to bring it back to giving each note a life of its own. And he was like, really savor the way each note feels in your mouth as you're singing it. And I think the bigger picture of that is love every moment of what you're doing. And so like if you're going into the song and you go, shoot, I don't know, I'm scared about this high note and I'm this. You're kind of focusing on something future in the song. You're not in the moment of the verse you're singing, and you're kind of failing to pay attention to that part, which needs love too. Yeah. And so it's kind of like, let's just focus on this word at this moment until I get to the next part of
one.
the line. And I don't know.
You can tell that just hit the both of us really hard.
Well, it clicked with me and is a very eloquent way of... I feel like sometimes I say this all the time. I say I can't think that far ahead because like I will. And with Hunter in the podcast, even I've been like, okay, so we've got X, Y, and Z. I can't stress about every word about this episode that we're going to do 4 weeks from now. We've got that. Let's go here. Let's think about this. And then, or even like, I'm like, I just have to get through the summer with my son before I can think about that because I can't. I need to live in this moment right now and be okay that I'm giving this my attention. And I have this in the back of my mind, but I have to think about it
at a later date.
At a later date when I get there, because I can't stress about it right now because that's going to ruin this moment that I'm in right now. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it did. It clicked with me. But it also, because you put it so eloquently, it's a good reminder to think of it that way. Because sometimes I get stressed that I can't think about everything at once.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what we've talked about in the past with how we get shocked whenever people are, what did we say when they're honored to be on our podcast, and then we feel like almost like we black out in the moment because we're so excited, or I do at least. I don't know if you agreed with that mutually, but it's like you're so focused on making sure that it goes great because it's someone that you look up to. But if you're just in the moment, or if you're not in the moment, you're going to forget it. And that's what's happened is I've forgotten things, you've forgotten things that like you listen to the episode back and you're like, oh, I forgot I asked that question. Yeah. Versus being available in that moment. I love that one. Yeah. I love that. So our last question. Yeah, that was the words of, I love that. I'm going to clip that one out.
I know.
Last question is to counter the question that we just asked you. The highest point in your career, or, the most memorable. What is the biggest discovery you've made in your career? Like something that you've learned from maybe not doing such a great job?
I think, it comes back to loving what you do, finding the things that light your fire in the process. And if you figure out those things, you discover who you are and you grow a deeper connection and relationship with yourself along the way.
We've got to reword that question.
We do. Yeah.
But so instead of saying failure, we're trying to replace it with discovery. So like we want to celebrate all of the great things that have happened, but also realize that those great things don't come without
well,
a couple failures.
That's kind of so what it would be. I guess maybe for Hunter and I, a good way to word it would be, because it is a failure. And we've said that all the time. Failures are opportunities for growth. That's exactly what we're getting at with this question. So when was a time that maybe shit blew up in your face or epically failed, quote unquote? Now that we have video, people can know what we're talking about, quotes here. That didn't go the way you wanted, failed, quote unquote, but you learned a lesson that stuck with you and helped you propel in the future.
The biggest failure I can think I mean, I wouldn't really consider it a failure because you learn, right?
Exactly.
And that's what we're getting
Yeah.
at. So in
I
this
feel
phrase,
you.
we're allowed to call it a failure because it's exactly what we're getting
Yeah.
at. Your failure that became a moment of growth.
Mhm.
I went through a lot of woodshedding in music school of just like figuring out who I was, but I feel like the biggest failures came when I tried to be what I thought other people wanted me to be, and it wasn't authentic. It didn't lead itself to the best performances. And one time I had someone at like my like final, they call them juries when you like sing in front of the teachers, you know, and they grade you and they grade all the things. But someone had even said like, do you even listen to like commercial music? Like it was such, and like afterwards I was like,
Wow.
yes, I do. I love music. But I think like it was just because like I was going with something that wasn't me.
It was
so
someone
it wasn't
else's
gonna
idea.
have the
Yeah.
soul that it needed to. And like that's what music is, and that's what like I grew up with. And I remember my dad being like, you gotta put your heart into what you do, kiddo. And like so that was the one time I really felt like, hold up, yeah, like that's not me.
Yeah.
Like I compromised who I was in worrying so much about what I thought I should be. And so out of that failure came now like over the past year where I feel like now it's just fearlessly creating. Try not to get in the way of creations. Try not to over correct them based on what you think would be acceptable or receivable. It's just, no, this is what I want to create, so I'm going to freaking do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I will say, we live in Music City. There's musicians in every room that you walk into. Out of all of the musicians that I've had, like, personal connections to, you have the most, like, uninhibited confidence that doesn't seem cocky at all. You're just, you're so humble and, like, you're like, yeah, I did this, and I think it's good. But it's not. It doesn't ever
that
come
sounds
across.
a little cocky. Maybe I need to work
No,
on that.
it's not
that's not what I
cocky.
meant.
No, it
but
isn't.
it's just, it's like, yeah, I hope everyone likes it. I'm putting out what I believe in.
I did this. I'm proud of it. I hope you enjoy it. Not, I'm the best.
Yeah.
I'm really good. I'm going to be a star. You're going to, you know what I mean? That is almost, you have a star quality. But it's not like it's genuine.
You're not a diva.
You're not a diva.
She's
Stay
like,
that
I mean, I
way.
would like
No.
to be
Yeah.
sometimes. You get one diva pass per day.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
sounds good. I definitely felt
Well,
like a diva on the video shoot as
you
y'all
did
were
not
making my
act
hair
like it
feel
at
like
all.
fantastic. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is great.
Well, with all of that, guys.
Hold
Think
on,
again.
though. Hold
Hang
on.
Oh,
What?
I know. But you said in going to the podcast that you guys talked about the hair experience of creating that.
Yeah.
And you need to get my experience with it. There
Oh.
were, oh goodness, I didn't count the bobby pins.
Okay, wait a minute. I did want to interrupt earlier, but that is what I am
forgot to
dying
ask.
to freaking know what it was like. You guys, we put what? How many? Like
Four
four
packs.
packs of extension hair and some like braiding.
It's in that bag over
Yeah,
Hair
there.
and
rat.
2 packs. I got it. Hang
And
on.
yeah, a pause for video. But how long did it take you to pull that down? Because we did the 3 looks. I mean, there were pins on top of pins on top of pins on top of pins.
I would have recorded it, but I was just like up there and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh, there's one. Oh, there's another one. They're like falling out.
It
Oh my
seemed like
God.
you did it fairly quick, though.
You know, it actually wasn't as bad as like I anticipated, but I think it was knowing where to start, you know, when there's
Yeah.
that much hair in your head and you don't
It's
even know
matted
what
together.
Oh,
belongs to
God.
you. Yeah, you don't know what belongs to you or what belongs to the hair. There's even still blood on like
Some of
them.
it.
Fake blood.
Yeah.
guys.
And some of that hair was like crimped and then curled
Beautiful.
and then teased and then,
And then-
sprayed and
Yeah,
then
and then that was
oh, there's more on the floor.
Yeah,
Some
it's
more in
wild.
that bag.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
But,
Well, and
okay.
that comes back to, it's kind of funny, like, day of, you had sent me a picture, you're like, I'm thinking of, like, buffon of this, and I'm like, I don't even know what that word means. So, like, you asked her, like, what's it like for, like, the non-hairdresser? That's what I'm like, I don't know any of your lingo, but sounds good.
That is fun.
That's wrong
That
with
is
it.
fun. And then you sent me a video of you taking off that makeup.
Oh God.
It was quite fun. I really didn't want to like remove the look at all. Like I was like, I just want to exist like as scary.
How long did you stay at Waffle House? We went to Waffle House afterwards.
We did go to Waffle House afterwards, and there was a patron that we met who was like all here about
I love it.
Like he got pictures with me. And
I love that.
Like, I can't wait. So that was neat.
Aww.
But yeah, it was good. I had a chocolate chip waffle.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't stay there like
You didn't
crazy
stay
long.
long.
It was more of just the novelty of like, gotta take this look
Yeah.
somewhere
Totally.
Yeah.
else.
We should have gone to Play.
Oh my gosh.
God, I might have
That's
had
where
to
we
just
met.
go ahead and stay for that one. Is it
Yeah.
really?
That is where we met. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was flirting with her husband. With my husband standing beside me.
So funny.
That's how my marriage ended.
Right.
Yeah.
Hunter,
It was me.
I'm
He
just kidding.
actually
You
lives in the
probably
spare
wanna edit
bedroom.
that
Right.
part.
and that's
It's
the
fine,
story
you
of
can
how
keep it.
Bradley and Hunter met. No, I'm kidding. Just joking. That's not true at all.
Wouldn't that be some fun, some crazy stuff?
Some type of way. That's hilarious.
But no, I saw her like across. I was talking to her husband. I wasn't actually flirting with her
Yeah,
husband.
I'm joking.
But I was talking to him and some other guy with a mustache ? There was something unique about one of the people that you were with.
Yeah.
And I think it was the mustache. But I heard your little giggle just like that
Aw.
across, and you came and talked to us, and then you and Bradley actually hit it off.
Yeah, Bradley's so cool. We had a great conversation.
And I was like, oh, by the way, I want to do your hair, so you're not getting away just
Yeah,
yet.
don't leave.
So
I was like, I told one of my friends, I was like, well, you know it's bad when you're out and about and a gay guy comes up to you and goes, oh, honey, let me fix this.
I don't remember what I
That's
said.
exactly why I don't do that to people. But anytime you go out with Hunter, that's exactly, he's like, I love your hair, blah, blah, blah. I'm a hairdresser. Here's this, here's that. Like,
I'm just kidding. You
God,
didn't,
and
oh,
God
honey,
forbid you
very,
say-
like, you were just like, I want to.
Well-
and I went, I want you to too. It's just this moment where I knew I wanted. I didn't know why. I just knew I wanted you. It's just the universe aligned.
I will say, not a lot of people, because I am marketing
Yeah, always.
monster whenever I have like a sip of alcohol. I'm like, who's with me? Can I
And
market
not only
them?
that, but God forbid you tell Hunter somebody's cute, because he'll go over and be like, this is my friend. She thinks you're cute. She's a successful hairstylist. She's this, she's that. And he'd be like, I told her this. She like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, dude, I'm not ready, okay? Stop trying to market me a partner over here. Like,
Sorry about it.
I was like, I'm just trying to look from afar. That's all.
Girl, how you think I got my man?
I don't want any relationships, anything right now.
Are you
None
sure?
of them.
We
yes,
had the leg touch earlier.
Well,
I mean, maybe if it was with you.
yeah.
But do we have anything else?
I think we're
took a
good.
lot.
Yeah.
I was like, where did we go? Where did we start with this?
I don't know. I'm random. I'm hungry. My brain is going
Right.
crazy.
Oh, we gotta
Me
eat
too. We're gonna take
Yeah.
a dinner break and
Dinner
then
break.
maybe one more episode.
One more.
Nah. Anyway, well, with all of this being said,
Okay.
this has been another episode of Breakroom Banter. If you would like to follow us on our social media journeys, I am at HairXHunter on all the things.
I'm Jay Rin.
Are you on Instagram,
I am.
Podcast.
Jay Rin Music on all the things.
TikTok?
Started the TikTok. Yes.
She's got a TikTok.
Okay.
Follow her on TikTok.
Becoming a
please.
TikTok galley
The
girly.
TikTok.
Yes, I will actually be posting like behind the scenes stuff
first
from
of
the
all,
shoot onto TikTok.
good.
And so stay tuned for that. Yeah.
And you need to be playing all your things, doing all your things, even if you're gigging in
Absolutely.
your room by yourself. You need to. Everything
Record
is
it.
content.
Yeah.
Everything is content, because I swear to God, the weirdest thing, seeing some video that she posted a couple years ago, and now it's literally on the effing radio because she wrote some
Yeah.
song just jamming, you
Yeah.
know? And it has happened quite a few times, I've noticed, from TikTok. So
TikTok is the new Instagram, unfortunately, because I am an Instagram girly,
yeah.
but It is what it is.
Anywho's and I'm Ericka the Red on the TikTok and the Instagrammies.
And our podcast is at Breakroom Banter Pod across all platforms.
If you listen, please follow us on both.
Yeah, follow us all.
Because we poll and we're gonna be asking for ideas and feedback from our audience soon. So follow us on the socials.
Yes. All right. Well, until next time. Do you want to cue her song? Until next time, you're going to hear our new outro song for the day. Bye.